Hello there, I'm Steve from Mac84, and it's time for another VCF Swap Meet. This one took place on October 26, 2024, in Wall, New Jersey, near the InfoAge Science and History Museum. First, I'm going to give a walkthrough of the event, and then I'll share what I ended up taking home with me. Also, if you support me via Patreon or YouTube membership, there's a longer version of this video, so be sure to check that out. I arrived at the show just before 8 AM, and there were already quite a number of attendees present. At first glance, it looked like there weren't a lot of vendors compared to last time. However, the tables were densely packed and more vendors arrived throughout the day. The event is open for vendors to set up at 7 AM and opens up to attendees at 8 AM. But you never know what you're going to find, and the early bird gets the worm. Or the Apple computer. Please don't unsubscribe. What I usually like to do at these swap meets is take a quick walk through all the aisles just to get a general understanding of what there is, what's for sale. That way, if I stop by somewhere and see something later on, I know if there's another seller that has something similar, or if I should save my pennies for something else. Now, I'm not going to stop and narrate at each table, I'm going to walk way too fast for that. But here's my friend Brian, he always has such cool stuff on display, vintage and semi-modern Intel Macs included, so always stop by his table if you go to one of these events. I always love walking through these aisles for the first time because obviously you don't know what everybody has brought for sale. And even looking back at some of these videos and pictures that I've taken, I've missed things, even though I was there in person. It's just a very overwhelming experience, but in a good way. Most of the people here have priced their items to sell and sell quickly. They did not want to go home with them. However, some sellers do have higher aspirations of what some things may go for and what their value is, and you tend to see those items still for sale at the end of the day because nobody has picked them up. However, the majority of people here just wanted to find these things a good home and make a few bucks on the side, and thankfully that seems to be the vibe of a lot of these VCF events. Here's my friend August here digging out a laser jet printer and a Power Mac G4 that he was trying to tempt me and my friends.
No, it's got a zip drive. It does work.
It's very tempting. It is pretty.
Hello.
I also enjoy seeing things that are new to me, like this weird communications server, and also collections of things that people have brought for sale. This table had quite a few cool Apple things on display. I didn't even notice that older Mac Mini in the box, or I might have picked that up. This person had a mix of Apple and IBM items. I mean, just look at all those expansion cards and motherboards and drives and so on. On their Mac table, they had quite a selection of Macintosh machines ranging from early compact Macs to a few Power Macs and even some Apple II stuff mixed in there. This person had quite an array of Atari items, including that Atari Jaguar. You don't see those every day.
Okay. No, thanks.
By the way, if you see something that you would have picked up, be sure to let me know in the comments section. There were also a number of tables that had a bunch of free items, either above the table or below it. There were things that these people just wanted gone by the end of the day. This table had a plethora of Macintosh items on display, everything from the early Mac computers to Power Macs and Power Mac G5s and Mac Pros. They had a little bit of everything. This PowerBook 3400 with the box and everything inside of it was very tempting. It looked like it was in great shape too.
And you don't usually see the yeah.
And I forgot to pan up here, but this is Greg from the Mac Yak Show. He brought a bunch of Macs for sale, including a K-Pro computer and some other neat things.
Alright. Let me make a little pile. I'm interested. And this is also a 600. Yeah,
Across the lot, you could see the free pile was starting to pile up with a bunch of goodies that people would hopefully take home by the end of the day.
Yeah. No, it's good. I stayed at, for me, I stayed at camp over a few days. The batteries go there.
And of course, there's an image writer too in the box, because there always seems to be one of those, or two, at these events. This little Fujitsu Scenic desktop caught my eye. I love that blue disk drive as well. It was fun to see this Power Macintosh and its matching display for sale. I believe that was for sale at one of the previous VCF events, so it just goes to show if something doesn't sell there, it may pop up again at a later swap meet. Next up is Paul's table, and he had a Quadra 950 for sale. If I already didn't have one of those machines, I probably would have picked that up. Up next here by this crowd of people was Kevin's table. He had a lot of early Macintosh stuff for sale, which was cool, along with some later stuff, but one of the things he was showing off was not for sale, and that was this.
Hey man, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing? No, you're good.
Oh my goodness.
There it is.
$2.
Yeah, it's just it's a used board.
Like it's got some crud on it.
Yeah.
You got the D to your house.
Maybe you can take the chips or something or whatever.
I believe I bought some stuff from these folks last year, and I ended up picking up a keyboard from them. They had quite a different array of Mac things for sale, from systems to keyboards and disk drives, and some part machines, so if you were looking for parts for another system, this was a table to look at.
Like PC compatible, like it has. That's actually not how you open it. This like opens up like this thing, which is like storage or something. Oh, weird. It like uses bubbles in there, I guess. It has like bubble memory and like a built-in printer, like a PC-ish, I think.
Hey, good. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, last time you all were here was later in the day. Yeah. Remember you guys? I had the Xterra last time. Now I have
Here I am passing by Mike's table. He always has some Macs hidden somewhere, so it's always worth it to visit his tables to see what he has for sale. And next to that setup was a very hard-working table. It wasn't holding up just one, but 5 Power Macintosh G3 all-in-ones, aka Molar Macs. Some of the more cosmetically pleasing models sold quickly, however the price of the remaining models dropped throughout the day, from $75 to $50 to $25. The seller had purchased these a while back from that boatload of them that were floating around in Pennsylvania. Sadly, these all needed a lot of work and none of them powered on.
Oh, look, it's that.
I wouldn't trust him.
Steve, what's going on?
He's shady. How's it going?
Morning. Underneath the table is free.
Oh no.
Great. I got a lot of stuff.
It's always super tempting when someone says, "Hey, I have a bunch of free stuff on the table," or under the table. It always makes you think, oh, maybe I could use one of those things, or do I have one of those at home, or do I know somebody who could use one of those things, or did I already pick up one of those things for them last time and forgot to give it to them? This individual has been at a few of these swap meets, and they have so much stuff for sale, and the prices were pretty darn reasonable. I think the boxes of laptops were something like $15 or $20 for the entire box. So you sure had to rummage through some things to see if there was something that you wanted. However, those prices were hard to beat. This person had quite a number of Macintosh things on display, everything from keyboards and accessories for the earliest computers all the way through to the PowerPC era with PowerBooks and iBooks and a few Intel things scattered throughout. I ended up buying a few power adapters and some add-on cards, but looking at some of the things they had for sale and seeing these low prices, it would have been very tempting for me to pick up some more of this stuff if I hung around at their tables any longer.
What kind of crap did you bring today?
all kind of crap.
I never thought I'd see this at the swap meet. This is one of those input devices that LGR covered on his channel not too long ago. It's really cool just playing around with it in person. $50 was tempting, but I don't know what I'd actually end up doing with it. My friends Kevin and Mike had a lot of cool Apple things at their table, including this Mac table. This desk, I believe, was officially licensed by Apple in the 80s, and it's just a very unique piece of furniture. I've never seen one of these in person before, but I wanted one. Some of these tables had so many things densely packed that it was hard to notice them at the event. Like that Turbo Linux box on the right, that's so cool, but I didn't even see it until I'm looking at the video now. And hey look, a boxed Sega Saturn. And then there was this emergency button. I'm not sure what that was for, but I'm pretty sure my friend Sean could use it. Here it was around 12:30 or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, so things were slowing down and vendors were continuing to pack up as the event came to a close. This is usually when the free pile gets one more look over by curious attendees.
Today, we are observing a tame group of vintage computer collectors. They've gathered here to graze at an oasis known as the Free Pile. Watch as they scurry about and dig through the detritus in hopes of discovering buried treasure. Some will not find what they seek, but hope springs eternal, as new items are constantly washing ashore in this wild land known as New Jersey.
Some of those treasures included some items I put on the free pile. I'm very thankful to whoever took my crap, because then I didn't have to throw it away. Speaking of garbage, new to the swap meet this year was this e-waste truck, so if there was something you didn't want to take home, you were welcome to drag it over to that truck and hand it over. And I had to do that with one of my printer, scanner, fax machine combos that nobody wanted from the free pile. It's a shame, but at least it's no longer in my garage. Crying over spilt printer ink aside, it was great to be back at the swap meet, especially after missing the previous one in June. It was wonderful to catch up with my friends and meet some new ones. Even if we're all bad influences on each other when it comes to picking up old e-waste, it's always a fun time. Big shout out to Stefan who passed along this sad Mac LC to repair, along with some other donations. Thank you so much and good luck on all your projects. So after packing my car with goodies and saving them from the almighty e-waste truck, it was time to say goodbye to the swap meet and head home. And surprise, I went home with one of those Mac tables, and my goodness is this thing super cool. I never really saw one in person, so I just had to have it when I was looking at it. This one is a bit beat up. It has some rough edges around it. There's a crack over here, and some children were unkind to it wherever this was staying for many, many years. But I got this at a great price, and I'm sure I could restore some of this stuff so it doesn't look too bad, and honestly, from afar, you can't see a lot of these imperfections. I hope the Mac table doesn't mind sharing its surface with some of its Apple II cousins. So I'm not going to go too crazy in depth into what I picked up, but here's an Xserve box that has some of the rail hardware and some blanking plates, either I think they're for the RAID or for the Xserve itself. This was $25 or so, so that wasn't a bad deal. My friend Mike gave me a bunch of things that he called a Newton Party Pack. This includes a print pack, file pad, graffiti, a bunch of software, and some documentation. So that was very cool. I bought this Lacey drive, which I always loved the design of. I think there's a hard drive inside, so I'm going to see if there's anything cool on there. And then I picked up this, I think it's a DDS3 tape drive. Hopefully it will help me with some of my ongoing tape projects. My friend Dan was giving this Apple internal zip drive box away, and inside of it was a bunch of documentation, including all these little cool handouts Apple used to have out for display at CompUSA and stores like that. I got this from my pal Kevin. This is an Apple Lisa user-friendly handbook. It was already scanned in online, and this might have been the one that was used for that scan because the binding is cut, but it is in pretty good shape otherwise, and it's pretty neat to see a book related to the Lisa. I have my Apple Lisa right over there, so this will be a nice companion to it. I picked up a handful of add-on cards. This is an Asante PCI Ethernet card. This is a card that is presumably out of an Xserve G4. It's a SCSI card. And this is an IDE card. I actually misread this as an ATA 133 but it's actually only an AT833 card. But I did test it in a Power Mac and it does seem to function, so that's a nice thing to have. Let's start off over here. I have this little HP Atom thing. This was on the free pile, untested. I don't know, I just sort of like the form factor. It might come into use as a prop or something like this. I remember when these things were new, and not that I necessarily want to use them, but I like little computers, so this was kind of neat. And for free, it was kind of a no-brainer. Over here we have a pile of FireWire external enclosures. This is a Western Digital one. It's going to be a bit of a pain to find some of these power adapters, but I never turn down a FireWire enclosure. They are super handy, especially when booting up Macintosh computers like PowerPC Macs or even earlier Intel Macs. This is another FireWire hard drive enclosure. Has a more standard 12-volt power adapter there, and you also have USB too. So I picked up both of these from my friend Mike. Thank you very much. And he also had this floppy drive, which was really cool. This is an external 800K floppy drive, I believe. This is a Habadisk 800. So this is an external 800K floppy drive for a Mac Plus or something along those lines. Although it's not an Apple drive, I believe it's pretty neat and it should clean up nice. I picked up this Parts PowerBook G3 from my friend Brian. He didn't sell it by the end of the day, and he thinks that some of the parts are working, like the screen, and some of the hinges and things were removed for other projects, but it never hurts to have some spare parts, so thank you, Brian. This MacBook was in the same pile as that little HP netbook. It's not in too bad shape. It's missing some keys on the keyboard and the battery, but there is some RAM in there and I think a hard drive. And I think this is the 2007 model, so I think it's actually a bit better than some of the ones I have. So never hurts to have a spare screen or something like that. It's always hard not to pick up CDs or documentation, and these were at a very good price. I think I got all of them for $5 in total. And some of these I already have, like some of the G3 boot discs and things like that. But some of them are scratched, or they need a fresh archiving on the Macintosh Garden and so on. So it never hurts to pick up a stack of discs. I like this Ziff Davis Macintosh Benchmark CD. Never saw that before. And of course, Stuff It Deluxe. Can't go wrong with that. And there's a number of Apple Software Restore discs and some Code Warrior stuff, which looks pretty neat. Here's a pair of earlier PowerBook G3 or iBook G3 power adapters. These have the larger barrel jack and are getting a bit harder to find. I have more of these computers than I do power adapters, so whenever I see these, I try and pick them up. This keyboard was on one of the free piles. Not sure if it works, but it looks like it's in pretty good shape. I only have one of these. It's nice to have the number pad. And this one was also in the free pile. It had a bit of a broken thing here, so thank you, Dan, for putting that aside for me. But otherwise, it looks like it's in good shape. Finally, I have one more table of odds and ends. This person had some keyboards for sale for $10. I always like this model, even though it needs some color restoration here. It seemed to be in pretty good shape. I always loved the design of this with the USB ports and everything, and you could adjust the back like you can with the earlier Pro keyboards. Later in the day, they had a bunch of things for free, including this one here, so I picked that up as well. Again, looks to be in pretty good shape. This sad Blueberry keyboard was only $1, which is great because I have other sad keyboards that are missing some keys, so hopefully these could be parts donors to get a complete working keyboard that looks pretty good. My pal Kevin sold me a few of these things. Here's an Apple Link box with Apple Link version 6.0. I love that virus detection sticker there. We have some documentation. Not exactly sure if I've ever seen one of these before in this packaging. And there's probably not a lot of these left over because they're just cardboard, you know. So this is what it was mailed in and what it arrived in. So I think it's pretty neat to see that. And I always wanted a copy of Apple Works. I have one for the PC of all things, but this is a version for the Macintosh and it looks like it's in beautiful shape. So I'll be happy to put that on my shelf. My friend Dan passed this to me. This was going to go in the free pile. However, I thought maybe I could use it with one of my early iMacs or eMacs that don't have Bluetooth. It is compatible with macOS 10 10.2 Jaguar, so I figured, why not? Here are some Caddy CD-ROM cases I picked up for $2 for 6 of them. Not a bad deal. And this is a Keyspan twin serial adapter. It converts a USB port to use serial devices like printers. I don't think you could do local talk stuff out of this, but these are pretty handy. And for $5, that was a pretty good price. I had one of these already, but I absolutely love using them. This is an external FireWire CD burner drive. I remember using this on my lime green iBook G3 clamshell model because that did not have a built-in CD burner. It had a DVD drive. And these are very useful on PowerBooks and desktop Macs that have FireWire, but may not have a functioning CD drive. So instead of ripping out the optical drive or replacing it, you could use an external one to boot off of a system disk and complete an installation. I also picked up this nifty Sony 2X floppy disk drive. Apparently these are faster than standard ones, so it never hurts to have another floppy disk drive in the collection. And we have a pair of Apple joysticks. This is for the Apple IIe or the 2C. And this is a more modern style of some of those joysticks I've seen. And this is a third-party one, but still compatible with the Apples. These were a pretty good price, and I picked them up because they were in pretty good shape. Hopefully I could use them when I'm playing around with my Apple IIs. And finally, here is the Macintosh LC that Stefan donated to the channel. You can see there's some melting of the plastic there. But you know what? It doesn't look too bad. There is a screw here, so I'm going to try and open it up here carefully without breaking any plastic. I'm curious what's inside. That one went pretty well, and that one released okay. Well, how about that? We have the original battery. It has not exploded. Let's take that battery out before it can do any damage. Other than that, I see the usual suspects of capacitor leakage around here, and I'm going to guess that this power supply is just dead. However, this is only the second original LC model I have in my collection, so I'm going to try and get this one working. Thank you again, Stefan, for the kind donation. And that's about it for the VCF Swap Meet. Remember to visit vcfed.org for more information about upcoming events. Did you spot something cool or think I got a good deal on something? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to like the video, and I'll catch you right here next time on Mac 84.